city take a major step forward toward preserving housing by approving a $60 million investment in 35,000 rental units through the New York City Employee Retirement System, or NYSERS for short, which is the city's pension fund. And this investment protects tenants by providing housing stability, and it also protects retirees by providing financial security. And then for upcoming events, our office, we are participating in 2 different events. June is still Pride Month, so these are a couple different Pride events. This Saturday, June 29th, we will be participating in the Harlem Pride Festival from noon to 6 p.m. And on Sunday, June 30th, we'll be participating in the Manhattan Pride Parade starting at 11 a.m. And if you'd like to join our office in marching at those events, you can RSVP through our office's Eventbrite page, which you can also find on our website. But that URL is nycpublicadvocate.eventbrite.com. And then just to stay in touch with our office, you can always reach out to our office with any complaints, issues, concerns you have regarding city agency services. You can email our office at gethelp@advocate.nyc.gov. And you can also call our office's hotline at 212-669-7250. And lastly, I remember during last month's meeting, someone from the public asked me about the Public Advocate's stance on the City of Yes initiative. And I just want to touch on that real quickly. The Public Advocate did not offer an official statement on that initiative, so I have nothing to share on that. I just wanted to touch on that real quick. So yeah, that wraps it up for me, and I'm happy to take questions if anyone has questions. Guess we're good. Thank you, everyone.
All right, we'll speak a little slower. Thank you, Regina, for that.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I talk very fast, so I appreciate that. All right, so we heard from no one. Next up, we have, sorry, my phone's bugging out. We have Lori's in this room, right? I saw her. Yeah, come on up, Lori from Congressman I don't know, Espaillat's office. Yeah.
Good evening. I'm very, very pleased to be here with all of you. And I hope I think hopefully all of you received the community report. So I'll just very quickly speak to what has been the Congressman's priorities this month. He commemorated Juneteenth in Harlem with other leaders of the community. He has been pushing for assistance through K-12 education to help states figure out how to identify English learners, including those with special needs, so that they can be helped to reach their potential. He had a wonderful time at the Puerto Rican Day Parade, and he has introduced bipartisan legislation. I think this is actually quite remarkable. The idea is that giving funds to enable mental health facilities of all kinds, hospitals, clinics, etc., the opportunity to train, obviously carefully screened lay people to further and expand the offering and to help more people, because we certainly see they need help. The Congressman, of course, has been a supporter of DACA, the Dreams Act, since its inception, and he highlighted the fact that we now have just celebrated the 12th anniversary, and of course, with the president's recent executive order, this will be back in play in a real way. So I just want to share for those of you for whom this is perhaps one of your first meetings, that we are a source for help that people may need, whether it's with the IRS, the State Department, Social Security, and anything having to do with federal agencies. That's who we are. That's what we're there for. We're open for constituent service work from 9:30 to 4 from Monday through Thursday. We use Fridays for administrative work. The Congressman is deeply accessible at events all over the district, but we are there, we meaning myself and my colleagues, to provide assistance. Veterans Administration also of all kinds to our constituents. We have 3 offices, one on West 181st Street in Washington Heights, the other in the State Office Building in West 125th, and the third in DC. And finally, if anyone wants to come and take a tour of the Capitol or the White House, please get in touch with us and we will facilitate that for you. Okay, any questions?
Right on time, Lori. I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And again, if you are in the room, you can connect with them right outside the hallway, or if you have any questions on anything else. All right, we have, I think Edgar's on Zoom. Yes, he's on Zoom. So Edgar, let me just go with room and then we'll switch over to you if you're okay with that.
Sure.
All right, we're Jamila, if you could come over, Jamila from Councilmember De La Rosa's office.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Jamila from Councilmember Carmen De La Rosa's office, Director of Community Affairs, and also her scheduler. Just wanted to share a brief update on the legislative and budget side. This is the last week. We're assuming this is the last week as the budget negotiations will be happening, and hopefully we'll have a handshake between the speaker, Adrian Adams, and the mayor, Eric Adams. The council member along the Progressive Caucus as a co-vice chair is fighting for affordable housing, for homes now, homes for generation, no cuts to CUNY to restore $95 million, and affordable universal health childcare to restore $365 million. As many of you guys might know, the Inwood Nature Center has reopened at the beginning of June, so make sure to visit it. After 12 years. And also the Inwood Library branch, also opened. I did that all by myself. Okay, and then on Saturday, our office is hosting an event with the Department of Transportation to provide helmet giveaways for children. And also they're doing a bike swap, so if you have for children, if they have old bikes, they can come and swap it, and they're also teaching children how to ride a bike. So that's gonna be at the it's called the Jacob Jarvis Playground by Company Boulevard from 11 to 2:30 p.m. So take that. And then a few things that has already been discussed, and I just want to bring up, there was a fire last night. I've been on site all day. I was part of the interagency meetings. Unfortunately, there was two deceased people in their apartment. We were able to provide services to the family, but also the rest of the tenants. They are currently displaced, the whole entire building, but the management and also city agencies, which is Office of Emergency Management, Department of Buildings, and HPD have been on site, and also the NYPD, to ensure that everybody's able to get some belongings for the time period, but also give them information on what might be the possible next steps. We're hoping by Friday, we can provide an update to them to see which apartments are able to go back and which tenants are unable to go back. The summer goals for our office, we're gonna be having mobile offices. I don't have the date just yet. We will have them by the first week of July. If you don't have us on social media, please follow. We also have an email blast, you guys can share your email with me and I'll add you to our list. We're also gonna be prioritizing, meeting with a lot of the empty lots owners and new possible developers are gonna come to our district so that we could come to September prepared to give information to you guys. If you walk around the community, there's a lot of empty lots and many have been vacant for many years. So we're gonna make sure that of what's gonna be coming. Okay, almost done. And in terms of Overlook Terrace, Ebenezer already shared information, so did Kathy. The information has not changed. We did meet with the developer in April. They were very certain that nothing is moving forward. We also spoke to the Department of Buildings and I want to make sure I get this right. The Planning and Land Use Division at the City Council to give us concrete information. And we also flagged for them that any type of permitting or applications that come through need to be brought to our office immediately so that we can connect ourselves again with the developer and understand what is their goal. So as of right now, nothing has changed since 2017. They will continue putting the sign, to make sure that it's clear. And like Ebenezer shared, they are, making sure that there's, in permitting and for their vaccine. And then in terms of the MTA, I know that Overlook Terrace that entrance was shut down for a long time. We spoke to them today and specified the very, importance of keeping that open. They have told us several times that it's going to stay open, so we're keep holding them accountable, to make sure that whenever that happens, once the construction does start, if it does, that they are prioritizing the community and not the developers. So again, I'm here if you need, more information or more clarification, and again, I'm Jamila. And that's it. Thank you.
Question? Oh, this question for Lauren?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lauren, there was a question from a board member that we missed, from Sonia around the federal assistance program that you mentioned.
Just federal or city?
Oh, if it was federal assistance or city, do you remember? But if anything, you know what we'll do? I'm gonna drop your email in the chat so that she can send it to you. Cause at this point, I'm sure it's okay. All right, and then we're gonna turn over, I believe our last elected speakers is Edgar from State Senator Robert Jackson's office.
Hey, how's everybody doing? So we understand that the community has been mourning.
Hold on, can you start again? Cause we missed the first part.
Oh, I'm sorry. We understand that the community has been mourning the two individuals who were deceased recently over the past week, including Alejandro Ramirez, who worked at Johnny's, and also Jay McFly. You know, we've been in contact with members of the community. The senator has also attended a vigil indictment for Alejandro and his family. In the midst of all of this, the state has also passed a group of bills having to do with gun violence in order to tighten gun laws that we have here in the city, having to do with including $347 million to continue New York's efforts to reduce and prevent gun violence, strengthening laws to keep guns out of hands of domestic abusers, prohibiting open carry of rifles and shotguns to promote public safety, establishing 10-day waiting periods to purchase a firearm, and other bills, etc. We also understand that the RGB did vote to increase 2.75% on one-year leases and 5.25% on two-year leases. The senator was opposed to these increases, and you know, our office is consistently working with many of our constituents having to do with housing, and also connecting tenants with organizers in order to help them create tenants associations and things of that nature. People can always get in contact with our offices if they want to continue doing that kind of effort. There is also 311 is also, to our knowledge, helping people find cooling centers, especially being in the midst of a heat wave. You can always call 311 for that. The senator also met up with members of the Interfaith Commission for Housing Equalities press conference, which took place on Juneteenth. There will be more details coming out about that. And there's also a summer EBT program, which is eligible for families with school-age children who will receive $120 in summer EBT food benefits per child, pardon me. And these EBT food benefits will be distributed during the summer for all families that are eligible. Again, you can contact HRA or also contact 311 for more information. And that'll be all for today.
Right on time. Sorry, Shirley. Right on time. Thank you, Edgar. And yeah, Edgar, you can put your email in the chat too, just because we had a lot of participants on Zoom. or the best email for the office. Oh, yeah, okay, sorry, that sounded weird. No, it did go out, right?
Yeah. I think you have to put the volume up on that screen in the back.
Should be fine.
Can Zoom hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
yes,
I can hear you,
Alright, that was
but
weird.
do make a
I
point to
don't
keep
think we
the
have anybody from our
microphone by your
mental
mouth.
office. I just wanna double check before we go into our public session. Alright. Cool. Oh, wait, yes, I got it. Oh, yes, I think you can hear me. All right, so we're gonna do public session. We're gonna just start with Zoom because of the mic situation to make it easier. So give me once, or Simari, you wanna? Wait, I could pass it.
Okay. Oh. I don't know how to be in front of it.
Okay, thank you everyone for your patience this evening. I know we've been having, we are navigating through the tech difficulties, so thank you. We'll first start with our Zoom public session speakers who signed up. Our speaker number one, Jacqueline Tello from GDS, Growth Development Services. I believe you can unmute yourself in order to speak. You will have 2 minutes.
Yes, good evening, members of the board and fellow constituents. Firstly, I'd like to thank the board for this opportunity to speak and provide a platform to raise our concerns, especially on such an important day for voting and what's been happening in our community. My name is Jacqueline Tello. I'm a student at Hunter College, and I'm concerned about the public and mental health of Washington Heights and Inwood. According to NYC's Environment and Health Data Portal, heat stress-related hospitalizations are twice the amount compared to Manhattan and NYC as a whole. The Health Data Portal reveals that the air quality from the car traffic, CO2 emissions, and hazardous air pollutants are the worst in the city overall compared to other neighborhoods. And this is directly linked to the highest rate of asthma-related emergency visits in children due to the air pollution. Although there are multiple parks and spaces to bike, children and young adults are faced with dangerous surroundings such as gang-related activity, police violence, and environmental issues like air pollution, excessive heat waves, making this a public issue. So we need spaces that are open to the public without excessive presence of violence, police aggression, pollution, etc. The barrio demands that the armory should be reopened to the public to be used as a cooling center, open to all children and youth who wish to exercise and play without the threat of violence or asthma attacks. The New York City Community Health Profiles show that Washington Heights is suffering from an intersectional problem of increased incarceration, education dropouts, inequality, racism, drug addiction, and premature deaths. We need to start looking at these issues as public health issues and address them seriously. When the leading causes of premature death in Washington Heights are caused by cancer, heart disease, drug use, suicide, and diabetes, we need to ask why public spaces built with tax money off the people are only rented out to rich elites, elite students, and athletes, and leaving behind the people that's in their community. If the board cares about our youth and development, I demand the reopening of the Armory as a community space to support grassroots organizations like GDS to provide mental health support.
Thank you, Jacqueline. I'm going to say thank you for sharing, and we definitely welcome you to share any additional information with our board staff for outreach efforts. We'll move on in the honor of our time and our agenda to JC Valdera, who's also with GDS.
Hi, everyone. I'm
JC will
Jassy.
also have 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So hi, everyone. I'm Jassy Valdera. Again, thank you for everyone for being here tonight. So I'll just get right into it. Our mental health is very important and it's something that we got to prioritize, and we have to make it part of our lifestyle. This is a quote coming straight from Mel Robinson. As you know, mental health services are something that is needed and has been something that our Congress and representatives throughout New York have been struggling to find a solution for. Mental health challenges don't just take a break in the summertime. They're something that the youth consistently face throughout the whole year. and 1 in 6 youth in the United States from 6 to 17 years of age are experiencing mental health disorders. I'm coming here tonight to address to the board about why we need to find an increased way for low-income youth to receive mental health services, especially now in the summertime and throughout the whole year. Not only are they facing different stressors through food insecurities and challenges at home and also restricted activities, but as well as violence and community insufficiencies. So I come tonight to bring to your awareness that services like GDS that are providing growth and development, not only counseling, but holistically for the community is something that we should look at and continue to prioritize. I am the mental health advocate for GDS. So if you have any questions and would like to help us with the movement to continue improving mental health for our youth, you can contact me. I will put my email below. And like my fellow colleague was saying, that we need to find either a space for us to continue these services or be allowed back into our building where we were. Thank you for your time. Have a good night.
Thank you, JC. Thank you, JC. It's on.
It's blinking at us.
I don't know what that means. that peak thing.
Go ahead, talk.
Okay,
Talk loud.
I'm going to keep talking. Is it on?
Just talk loud. I think it's.
Okay, so that wraps it up for our Zoom public session speakers. We'll now move on to our in-person public session speaker list. And just for awareness, if you did sign up, we'll call you as we see you in the sign-in sheet. Please come over here to our makeshift podium so that you can speak into the lavalier so that they are able to hear you on the Zoom and in our spillover room next door. So I'll start with our first public session speaker, Linda Smith, representing 29 Overland Terrace. Hi, guys. Thank you. We'll have 2 minutes and we are honoring our time because we have many others who'd like to speak as well. Yeah, if you could just put it in front of this, so this camera just this camera.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Community Board. Thank you for the update as well. The 29 Overlook Terrace, 524 Fort Washingtonville. I'm one of the residents that live in the adjacent buildings. This is of utmost concern to many of us. We know that 5 months ago at 1915 Billingsley Terrace in Morris Heights, Bronx, there was an entire block of a building collapse. 150 people were displaced. There was structural damage in that building. That building was being reviewed. And even if that was reviewed, there was quite a bit of structural damage. So we also, the adjacent buildings to this site at 524 Fort Washington, those were built 90 years ago. At a different time, a different era. That's brick. Brick is the most vulnerable. Brick has been exposed, this brick has been exposed to salt from the Hudson, the earthquake that happened 2 months ago. Rain that has been happening, that's been building up. We don't know the structure, if there's structural damage within those buildings. That again, a different time. Can the structural stability of these buildings, pre-war buildings, can they stand up to this building that is being built 90 years later? Can it really withstand? We don't know. And I think it's of utmost concern to the DOB that what happened to Billingsley Terrace can happen again, and most likely it will. I think it's on the forefront of their mind, and I think it would be prudent of the community board and all residents and community members of Fort Washington to get on board with this, because I think more of this will be happening. Water induction is a big deal as the rain is increasing. So I think it's prudent that these buildings get inspected, and before anything of major concern happens. We don't want to repeat. It was totally preventable at Billingsley Terrace. And again, 150 people were displaced 5 months ago, December 11th, this happened. I think it's of the utmost concern. So again, we want to thank City Council Member Carmen De La Rosa for bringing this up, and the community board. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. We'll move on to our second public session speaker. If you can speak over here, Dr. Gary, so sorry. Dr. Gary Alpert on mental health.
And also, I just want to say that I'm going to be talking about mental health and suicide prevention. I don't want to upset anybody. So if they want to leave for this conversation, there's the 988 number, which has been 24/7. So it's not my time now. I just want to make it. As you sit around the fire at Camp Excel, one of the first sleepaway camps for inner city teens who were challenged by social, emotional, and behavioral issues, one youth participant, who I'll refer to as Angel, steps up and he dedicates a stick to all the campers and volunteers that helped him reach his potential. Angel broke his fear of public speaking at the talent show and actually played guitar in front of 100 campers and volunteers. At the end of Camp Excel, as the director, I always make an announcement to everyone at Camp Excel and let them know that the support that you will receive through Growth and Development Services, GDS, is just beginning now, and it will go all year long. I tell them, as long as I'm alive and as long as GDS is still here, you will have a home. At that time, our home was at New York City, Fort Washington Armory. Angel, 9 years later, took me up on that offer and knocked on my door at GDS at the Armory, which was 2 blocks away. And at the Haven we created for the youth. And many of you do not know that that's a city-owned building, and it was meant to be a community center. Angel was depressed, he was suicidal, he was hopeless. He could not find treatment. I got him into treatment in an inpatient setting, and he went into ongoing mental health counseling. Angel recovered and got better, and then he eventually co-led GDS's program as the program coordinator. Unfortunately, and devastating to anyone who knows Angel, Angel died by suicide in November of 2020. This was the period when GDS was wrongfully evicted and locked out of our own home by the mayor's office, DHS, some elected officials, and the Armory Foundation. We want to know what happened to our space. We want to know what happened to our home in the Heights. In Angel's honor, we created the Angel Fund and a Mental Health and Equity Coalition. The funds will go to help find a home for our mental health, youth leadership development, and intergenerational programs, and provide mental health support. To join our coalition or team, contact me, Dr. Gary Ortheim, gds@excelgds.org. To learn more, go to our website, excelgds.org. You all know about the resolution that's been stonewalled for over 3 years. It's an investigation into the Army that was passed 17-14. The public officials know, everyone knows, and it's on your hands, it's on your mind. How do you turn a blind eye to free mental health counseling services and not open a community center that is in dire need? I don't know how you can all look at yourselves in the mirror, those of you that are turning a blind eye.
Oh, 1 second.
Oh,
Hold on. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Gary. We will move on to our third public session in-person speaker, Emily Muniz, for mental health. Emily, okay, just want to make sure you're still there. We'll have 2 minutes as well. Yeah, you can just hold it. All right.
Hello, my name is Emily, and today I'm going to speak on the need for accessible and affordable mental health programming. So where students have intensive needs, like many New York City communities, the preferred ratio of social workers to students is 1:50. However, last year's data shows that the citywide average is 456 students to 1 social worker, which means social workers in many areas are serving over 800% more students than recommended. This means that New York City students are being deprived of sufficient access to mental health care, which worsens where students are living in poverty because most cannot afford outside treatment. The American Psychology Association states that neighborhoods populated primarily by people of color and members of low socioeconomic backgrounds are overburdened with the lack of access to healthy food, quality health care, and community safety. Therefore, low-income youth are in desperate need of mental health care, yet remain disproportionately affected. Psychological studies also show that early treatment of mental health issues leads to improved academic performance and fewer behavioral problems. In his mental health plan, Eric Adams acknowledges that 39% of adult New Yorkers with severe mental illness are not receiving treatment. We need to do better for our youth who are our future. If you care about your future, why not do everything to protect it? This summer, I am excited to be working with Growth and Development Services, which provides mental health care, leadership development, educational support, as well as a safe haven for youth in need at no cost. However, with no permanent home after GDS was wrongfully evicted from the New York City Fort Washington Armory, how can we expect to get our services out there? 100% of GDS students report better communication skills, stronger peer support, and increased self-confidence. We ask that you raise your support for programs like GDS to improve the lives of our youth and help us find a home. Please contact me at emunice@excelgds.org or visit excelgds.org. Thank you.
Right on time. Thank you, Emily. Thank you for your advocacy there. And let's go. Moving on to our fourth in-person public session speaker, Jason Sutlaw, Safe Haven for Teens. Thank you, Jason. You'll have 2 minutes. This is the camera that's doing it, just in case. Okay. So we're good. You're good.
Good evening. My name is Jason, and I wanted to address the need for safe havens for teens in this community, especially for BIPOC teens. Growing up BIPOC in a country where you're not the default, and in many mainstream stereotypes and marginalizations is in the mainstream media, it can take a toll on one's self-esteem. Not only that, there are certain places that are considered safe havens, like your home and school, but that's not the case for every teenager. There was a survey conducted on any city youth in NYC showing majority students confess to witnessing bullying or harassment to some degree while in school. And there was another study conducted by the National Institute of Health showing students feeling unsafe at school, and it would eventually lead to a decline in mental health, resulting in depressive symptoms. And the CDC has reported 50%, 55% of emotional abuse at home amongst adolescents. And 44% adolescents reported feeling persistent sadness. Too many teens do not feel safe, and they have no safe haven for them to retreat. Abraham Maslow, an accredited psychologist, created a famous hierarchy of needs. And at the bottom, the main need is safety. If you do not feel safe, you cannot focus on any other important activities in your life, such as school for teens. These youth should not have to worry about their safety, and they should have the same worries as their privileged counterparts, whether it's worrying about presenting in school rather than feeling unsafe at home. And that's why there's a need for safe havens. GDS provided a free safe haven for these teens, providing them with tools for them to succeed. They have lost their permanent space, and I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jason. So we'll move on to our fifth in-person public session speaker, Danielle C. Johnson, speaking for safe spaces and access. Sorry. Danielle, you'll have 2 minutes as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle, and I'm speaking to you all today to discuss the importance of community spaces and mental health services. As I have progressed in my degree, it's become increasingly apparent how critical these services can be, how scarcely accessible they are. Mental health is a cornerstone of one's life. Everyone possesses it. I've personally experienced the joy and safety of having a third space, such as a youth program. When school, work, or home looks more like a battlefield or prison than a place of growth, having somewhere else to go can make or break. In the most vulnerable years of a person's life, their adolescence, that third space can be the difference between incarceration or a college degree. As we approach BIPOC Mental Health Awareness Month, discussions surrounding inequity and access re-enter the zeitgeist. While various ethnic groups experience mental health issues at similar rates, BIPOC are significantly less likely to receive treatment due to cultural barriers, stigma, finances, and general access to care. In 2020, according to SAMHSA, Black and Latinx youth were 14% less likely to receive treatment for their depression. Black female high schoolers are 60% more likely to attempt suicide than their white counterparts. As we progress through a post-COVID-19 pandemic world, we must recognize the importance for community and collaboration. Mental health and wellness is a human right, and everyone deserves access to it. As public servants appointed for the people, you have a duty to provide the community with everything that it needs. To not only deny knowledge of these resources, but to actively bar the community from taking advantage of them, to deny our youth the power to change their lives. As members of this community and the surrounding areas, it's imperative that we do this together. As I stand before you today, I urge you to join the movement in helping Growth and Development Services, GDS, return to its home, the Fort Washington Armory, so they can do their part in fostering safe spaces and mental health services for the community. It takes a village. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. Our next in-person public session speaker is Martin Collins on behalf of Art Stroll Closing Reception. I'll also just queue up our next two speakers for the sake of time because we do have an extensive public session sign up. I'll call up also Ninosik Aristi for Family Enrichment Center. I'm sorry if I messed up here. You can just stand up here next. And then Ariel Holbrook Smith for CUNY School of Public Health. You can stand right next to her, and I'll call the next three after. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Martin Collins of the Northern Manhattan Arts Alliance. I'm the Uptown Art Stroll Coordinator. The Art Stroll is in its 22nd year. Community Board 12 is one of the co-founders of the Art Stroll back in 2003. The program's been going on the entire month of June, West Harlem, Washington Heights, and Inwood. It'll continue through June 30th, and we will have, on the short side, closing reception this coming Thursday, June 27th from 6 to 9 p.m. On the tables adjacent and in front of you, there are these cards and these guides which contain all the information. The closing will be again from 6 to 9 p.m. this Thursday at the Hispanic Society Museum and Library on 155th Street and Broadway. It's free and open to the public. We'll have some wonderful entertainment, refreshments, and it is free to everybody. We hope to see you. The weather looks to be in our favor on Thursday evening, so we look forward to seeing you on Thursday night. The stroll will continue all the way through Sunday, June 30th. There will be a wonderful event with Andrea Arroyo, an award-winning Mexican artist, on Sunday from 4 to 7 p.m. on the main stage theater inside the United Palace. I invite you to go to that event. All those details are in the guide and in our online calendar, nomanyc.org. That's NOMAANYC.org. Hope to see you all on Thursday. Thank you. Yes.
Is it true that one of the honorees is a former member and chair of Community Board 12?
Yes, Cian Ramadan, that is correct. Today, the West Harlem Development Corporation's Executive Director. And while we're talking about board members, I want to give everybody a big shout out. Let's have a big hand for Danny Bonilla, who coordinated the art event 2 weeks ago at the Art of Living on Hudson Street.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anos Servisti. I am here representing the Family Enrichment Center. I am so thankful for us to have this space to have an opportunity to talk about our center and what we're going to be doing. So our Family Enrichment Center, the goal is to empower families, children, youth, families, and community members with opportunities for success and self-reliance while reinforcing their sense of culture and self-identity. This is achieved through a holistic, culturally competent, family-based approach. So we are today inviting you all to help us in building out this space. Not only are our programming going to be based off of what the community wants, but this is going to be a co-design space as well. We're set to open in the fall of 2024, right in George Washington Port Authority. And we really, really, really need community members to lift their voices up and join with us in really designing what are the needs of this community. First and foremost, and again, our motto is for the community, with the community, by the community. And we are putting our money where our mouth is, even down to the name of our community center, or our center, sorry, our Family Enrichment Center is going to be based off of families, communities, and individuals that live here, born here, work here, naming your space, this is your space, our space together. So I put flyers up of both of our naming campaign as well as our general flyer that has information about our programming. Although we don't have a concrete brick and mortar space right now, we're doing monthly community events, and we really want to just engage with folks here. So I invite you all to not only speak to me, I have our team here, our family advocate, Monica Harris, as well as our community liaison, Louis Cruz here. So please speak to any of us. We want this to be a home away from home. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ariel Holbrook-Smith, and I am the Health Equity and Literacy Program Officer from the CUNY School of Public Health. We have been working in collaboration with the Cannabis Task Force to create and work on a community perceptions survey as well as a community mapping project. And now we need your help to help map out our community resources and what we call priority locations, which includes schools, houses of worship, affordable housing and the like, especially as it relates to potential dispensary locations. So we will be walking every block of our community next month. If you are interested in walking with us, I have flyers so that you can sign up. I'll have some flyers in the back, and if you have any questions, you can see me as well. I'm here with my team member, Lisa. And so, yeah, that's really it for me.
And you definitely keep an eye out. We're trying to work on this, start off during the summer and pick it back up in the fall. So again, we'll queue up our next 3 public session speakers. Kevin A. Jones for building proposed on 21 Overlook. I think it says 524 for Washington as well. Richard W. B. Fagan, I'm so sorry. Thank you. Well, there was 2 of you that raised your hand. Richard? Yes. Okay. Speaking on behalf of the 158th Street traffic survey, and our third queue is Jeannie Dudna, speaking on behalf of the 181st Street building. And I'll just pass it to you, Kevin. Thank you. You'll have 2 minutes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah. My name is Kevin Jones. I'm president of the Tenants Association of 725 West 184th Street. We're very gratified that Ebenezer, Kathy, and Jamila office has mentioned this building proposal. We all became very alarmed last February, I think, when there was an article in the Daily News proposing a 23-story building. We looked right across the narrow street of Overlook Terrace at it. It's been this construction site for 15 years, empty site for 15 years. We're asking that the community board issue a resolution to halt this project until an independent study is done and the site is determined to be safe for development. I'm getting that idea from hearing the other people speaking tonight, that is the sentiment. I have sent personally information to 2 committees, Marielle at Housing and Development, and the committee for also to Paola, actually, to the CB in general. So we're happy that we're being heard. We just want to stay informed about it. Keep us informed about it, please. And thank you.
Thank you.
Question? Yes.
Are you on the board's mailing list? And if you're not, can you make sure you?
Yes, I just exchanged emails with Marielle Ali twice this month. In fact, yesterday we did.
You can get on the board's mailing list and you can be aware of the committee meeting schedules, because the work of the board really happens in committee. So you're gonna wanna go to the housing committee.
Yes.
And go to the land. use
And I've
committee.
been to the Housing and Development Committee, I've spoken with Mr. Simons of the Health and Environment Committee as well. So yes, thank you, and thank you for all of your help, as you just saw with, and you're a board member, I'm assuming. Yes, thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Richard Feigen. I am a resident of 634 West 158th Street. I'm here to speak about a traffic study that we're requesting to be done for 158th Street from Broadway to the West Side Highway. It's a very heavily used street. There are a number of reasons, but one is from commuter traffic, which is very heavy, particularly in the mornings. And also there is a great deal of ambulance and fire truck activity. The ambulances use the street to access Presbyterian Hospital, and the fire trucks are there very regularly. And the street is overburdened. It's a four-way access onto the West Side Highway. You can go north, you can get on going north, you can get off going north. From north, you can get on going south, you get off south, and it's a two-way street. The street operates like one of the wide streets, like 125th Street, 86th Street, 96th Street, 42nd Street. But it's actually just two lanes, one in each direction. The other issue is the pedestrian traffic. It's a primary access to the park down by the river, and particularly on weekends, but every day of the week in the summer, there's heavy foot traffic, people with baby carriages and bringing drinks and so forth. And the sidewalks are only 5 feet wide on either side, which is very narrow. So people spill out onto the street, pushing their baby carriages and just because of the volume of human beings going back and forth. So we need to have a traffic study done to figure out a better way, a more efficient way to configure 158th Street. There's the bike lane, which is very lightly used, and I'm all for bike lanes, but that's another like 6 feet or so that could be otherwise allocated based just on the demand. And then, okay, at the top where Riverside Drive intersects with 158th Street, it's actually a 5-way intersection, which is just, I mean, looking at it, you can tell it's very dangerous. We need to have the DOT figure out a way to make that intersection more safe. It's very wide, elderly people, I see struggling to get across in time before the light changes. So that's, so we're requesting this traffic study be done by DOT, it's very important.
Thank you, Richard.
Okay.
Before I pass it to you, I'm just gonna queue up our next 3 or 4. So I'm going to call Marilyn Pimentel from We Act, Vivian Ducat on behalf of the 158th Street Reso, Julie Berman, Susan Wilcox, and Julie Berman, all also on the 158th Street Reso. Yeah, you can just stand here next to Jeannie, and then we'll call you next.
Okay, hi, thank you very much. I'm Jeannie Dumnow, and I'm with RENA, Riverside Edgecombe Neighborhood Association. I want to support the last 2 speakers. I'm here to talk about the issue of democracy, which CB12 is our supposed to represent, and hopefully does represent, the people of the community. However, the real estate in this city is running things. As of right means they can do whatever they want. If they want to build a 23-story building up on Overlook Terrace, a 17-story high-rise on 158th Street, all we can do is delay them. We can't say no. We don't want unaffordable high-rises in our neighborhood. Nobody can afford this. Nobody. So that is, I would like to beg CB12 to please pass, I know you passed a great resolution against 158th Street, but I hope that you will pass more resolutions and help us to pressure our elected officials, Mark Levine, Sean Abreu, Carmen de la Rosa, to stand up and speak out against these projects. Also, on another issue, it's all housing. City of Yes, this is the mayor's way of trying to build more unaffordable buildings in the whole city and to make things more unaffordable for us. Mayor Adams is an enemy of tenants. He showed that in the rent guidelines board that proved it, and the city of Yes, please vote against it. Understand that this city of Yes is not going to help anybody. It only helps real estate. It allows people to build businesses in rental apartments, believe it or not. Not only that, but they want to build buildings in the middle of city-owned NYCHA buildings. So please, please, I'm asking the board, vote against this. Thank you very much.
Hello, finally in person after a while, being online. My name is Marilady Pimentel. I am the bilingual community organizer We Act for Environmental Justice. I come today to invite you, all of you, to our barbecue. Let me read. It's going to be July 20 from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Is for our community to celebrate our members, our environmental justice, join us for great food, great conversation, environmental justice game, music and prize with our Harley community and English community and all the community. As always, the barbecue is free and open to everybody. Please come. It's a networking opportunity and it's not for table, it's for enjoy. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Vivian Ducat. I've been a public member of land use for over 15 years, member of Upper Riverside Residents Alliance, and our website is saveriverside.org. I live at 157th and Riverside, and I'm talking about how much worse 158th Street traffic is becoming and will become. As Richard was saying, there's, I'm not going to go through the millions of kinds of vehicles that go up there. One of the issues is that when drivers get to the top, there's no signposting, and there are 5 different ways that one could go. But if one doesn't have someone in the back seat telling you where to go, people hesitate and then the traffic backs up. But it's about to get worse. A 17-story apartment building is to be built in the large lot behind the row houses lining 158th Street. Currently, 6 of the 12 row houses are being or have been demolished. 10 days ago, this is on behalf of someone who couldn't be here, a neighbor witnessed a truck loaded with construction equipment parked with no driver in it, just sitting in one of the lanes of traffic. Cars were taking turns around the truck. No one was there to direct the traffic. This is probably not the last time we're going to see situations like this. The only way the construction crews are going to be able to reach the building site is by turning off 158th Street into an alley that heads south. That alley also leads to 4 different garages and to the vehicular entrance to River Terrace, an apartment complex. To make things worse, the developer plans to build the garage for his apartment house along the same alleyway. And then across 2 lanes of traffic on the other side of 158th Street, there's a loading dock for a storage company. More trucks and more vehicles turning on and off 158th Street. Our community desperately needs the assistance of DOT to study and plan for the situation. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Julie Berman. I've lived in River Terrace for almost 25 years in what we affectionately call the penthouse floor, the top floor. I have a beautiful view of the Hudson, and the trade-off is I also have a beautiful view of the West Side Highway and 158th Street and Riverside. So I see the traffic and I hear the traffic, and every day I wipe my window sills from the pollution that emanates from below. And I'll echo the people who've already talked that it's about to get a lot worse. I encourage you to do a Google search. I have the website, which I'll leave with you, but if you Google in the search for video bar, walking Manhattan 156 to 158th Street, you'll find the first hit is a video from 2001, June 3rd, 2001, where a walker in the city decided to film from
the access ramps of the West Side Highway all the way up to Broadway. It's very informative to watch a video because if you do, you'll notice that in the 4 minutes it takes her to walk from the access ramps of the highway to Broadway, she passes 10 adult pedestrians, 2 children, 5 bikes and scooters eastbound, 4 bikes and scooters westbound, 31 cars westbound, 12 trucks and cars eastbound, 1 car coming out of the River Terrace driveway, that alleyway we talked about, 2 parked cars and trucks, which are illegal parking. She also passes at various points the NYPD parking, which is near the West Side Highway, across the street from DOT parking, which is also near the highway, the River Arts parking garage doors, the Hudson Moving Company garage doors, the alleyway that leads to the garages in that alley at River Terrace is one of them. A service store, another service store from the Hudson Moving Company, 2 small personal garages near the top of the hill on the south side, and 1 small personal garage on the north side, and that 5-point intersection people have talked about. It's really dangerous. It's about to get worse. And one last thing about June 3rd, 2021, that was during a pandemic. You'll see people in masks, so there was a lot less traffic. It looks like the shadows from it's the middle of the day, and it's a Thursday. So when you watch the video, close your eyes and fast forward to 2024 and think about the weekends and think about rush hour and think about just how much worse it's going to be. Thank you.
Okay, I got it. I don't, okay. You could just. Okay, hi, good evening, everyone. I'm piggybacking off my colleague. I'm also a tenant of River Terrace. I'm a board member, and I've lived there for over 25 years myself. And so I'm not gonna, sort of reiterate all of the problems that have already been named by the traffic on 158th Street, but I think I want to lift up the point that this is a community board, and the very essence of community is holistic. And somebody mentioned the word intersectional. So all the problems we heard today are interacting, right? They all are connecting to each other. So we can come here and, really push you to examine what's happening on 158th Street, but to do that in a vacuum of not understanding upcoming construction that's taking place, construction that's already taking place. If everyone has been on Riverside Drive between 155th and 158th Street in the last 4 years, the viaduct. So there's been a lot of lost parking, which means that those cars have to go somewhere, and sometimes they're going on the sidewalk of 158th Street. And so in addition to really endorsing this resolution to do a study, want to underscore that what is the communication that's happening between the DOT and the DOB so that there is construction taking place? How can it happen? Understanding what's going on that block when there is no construction. And then also that is also the block where there's the DOT safety city. And we understand that there's affordable housing building being proposed for that lot as well. And I think most people in this room would endorse affordable housing. But what is the scale of that housing? What are the other things that we need to consider when Julie looks out of her, beautiful view, as she mentioned, but then not being able to inhale oxygen because there's not enough trees around there, but there's plenty of cars. These are all the things that I think we need to consider, or we asking you to consider as a community board where the focus should obviously be holistic, and that all these problems are interacting with each other. So thank you for your time. Thank you, Julie. Thank you to those who have spoken so far. And we will call our last batch of in-person public session speakers. I will call Harold Forsett. So sorry if I messed up your name, Harold. Speaking on the building proposed on 184th and Outlook Terrace. Also speaking on the same topic, Carol Schrichter. Oh, so sorry. I don't have my glasses on. And then our last in-person public session speaker, Marshall Douglas, also for Overlook on Fort Washington. You'll have 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna summarize this, get in 2 minutes. I had to start researching this when I married into this neighborhood 2 decades ago. And one of the things I learned is that the rock, which is supposed to be so solid in Manhattan, is called Manhattan schist, but it's not very solid in Upper Manhattan, in part because there are 3 earthquake faults in Upper Manhattan. One under 125th Street, another under Dykeman, and the third one comes in from the Harlem River on 176th Street, comes under the construction site, under my building, and they stopped mapping it in Bennett Park. Okay, the city can know this. I've seen the maps. It was done by a geologist at Hofstra University. City can't pretend it doesn't know this, okay? That fault line is quite serious because it runs under the blue subway line. The city of New York, through Community Board 12, was notified of this instability risk when the CB invited a geophysicist from Columbia University to discuss the proposed building back in 2006. But the city actually already knew the irregularities of Manhattan, Sheesh Rock, and Upper Manhattan because of a construction accident that took place over a century ago. 1903, 1904, as the IRT was being built above the 191st Street station, construction management dropped the ceiling on a room full of workers. And when they went down to find out what happened, they realized the only thing they could do is call Catholic priests to give last rites because the workers were under rocks and they weren't going to survive. They were dying. Okay, they lost 10 workers. It's the worst disaster in the entire subway construction in the history of New York. So let's be serious about this. Upper Manhattan is different from the rest of Manhattan, and there is historical evidence to demonstrate it. So what are my points? First, Upper Manhattan was built over a century ago. Its private and public structures are vulnerable to serious disturbance. Remember the earthquake back on April 5th. Second, New York City has been for some time fully liable for any damage done to public or private property, and more importantly, the injuries and deaths that might occur. I know I'm almost done. My last line is this: the future is not a mystery when the laws of geophysics are concerned. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I gave him my minute, so okay, I'll be brief, because, it was just said, I've lived in, Washington Heights for 55 years on Fort Washington Avenue, and, if I had to move here, now and raise my 3 kids like I did, I couldn't do it, because there's nothing affordable. Nothing affordable. We need affordable housing. And this as of right building on between Overlook and the subway and Fort Washington is not going to be affordable. However, they did put in their plan for a charter school, which means to me that they must be getting a tax write-off. I don't know. I've looked into it. I can't find anything about it, but there must be something that where they're getting some sort of tax abatement. This is exactly not what we need. Because first of all, because the possible danger to all the surrounding buildings, which has all been documented up the wazoo for many years, as well as the impact of a 23-story building in an already overcrowded neighborhood where if you have a car, you can drive around for 2 hours trying to find a spot. That would be impossible. I don't think we need another charter school. I think we have to put the money into the local public schools in the area, and we need affordable housing. I was amazed that in April there was a meeting. Now, I'm not part of a list and everything, but I am, plugged in. There was a meeting with the developer and members of the community board. We should have been told about that, so we can speak about it, so that the community board can hear from the community exactly what this disaster is going to mean. And, and then to find out that they're going to probably close the entrance on Overlook Terrace, which anyone knows, we've already been through that for over a year. And what that means to the surrounding community, just to get into the subway, you have to go to 190th Street, walk up 100 steps, or walk all the way to 181st Street, which is uphill and difficult for elderly and people that have any kind of disability. So this is a disaster waiting to happen, and we have to oppose it.
Hi, everybody. My name is Marshall Douglas, and I live on a cliff. My apartment is on the 3rd floor relative to Fort Washington Avenue, but it's on about the 9th or the 10th floor relative to Overlook Terrace. I moved into my building in 1973. But shortly before that, there was a big crisis because there was construction and disturbance of the bedrock in the area. And we had the floor in our basement fall through to a gaping hole. We had floors, my apartment has sloped floors. We had people whose apartments had gaping holes like a foot high at the ceiling. This is serious business. I'm very concerned about possible blasting or just simple removal of the bedrock down there on Overlook Terrace. I hope that the board will be very proactive about making sure and blocking, making sure that the construction is planned properly and to block any efforts that are going to disturb that bedrock. Now, this is my personal thing. I look at that rock and I say to myself every time, why did they have to remove that rock? The last owners of the property tried to remove the rock and they went bankrupt doing it. So I want to make sure that, or I want to promote not having that bedrock disturbed at all. I think it's entirely possible to build the lobby and have elevator shafts come down to the Overlook Terrace level. But I don't think that that rock should be disturbed. I'm very concerned about what happened to us in the past, happening again to all the buildings along Overlook Terrace who live on the cliff.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So that wraps it up for our public session portion of the agenda. We'll move on to our resolutions. Let me just. I wanted to share. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Just share my whole screen. Is this? Yeah, because we just put the slides back. Okay, we're just working with some tech. Thank you. So do you want to just put the slide first? Okay. So I'm speaking now with my kind of a task force vice chair hat, I guess, right? So working with our task force, we've tried to set up some structures for expected volume in the future. And one of the items that we'd like to address with these two resolutions is the PPLM, the Proximity Protected Locations Map, to make it more relevant to everyone for background context. It's similar to the SLA mapping that they already have, like identifying businesses in the area, et cetera. So here, the purpose of our resolutions was to oppose anyone who's listed on the PPLM who either has not presented before the board or notified the municipality or has not provided a complete application in order to be considered for a cannabis license. So just to give you all an overview here of the content, of the content here. So I just give a general overview of what the PPLM consists of and what it entails, what the purpose of it is. And then I believe on the second page, more closely towards the end, a lot of background context, just more so since it's a new setup. So here we just called out in detail the day that we met as a task force to address these items on the agenda and what the specific case was for this applicant. So as you see here, this applicant was not responsive or present to answer any concerns during the meeting and did not submit a questionnaire or post a public notice that is a requirement for the task force, not in general. So because of that, be it resolved that we object to their license, because again, if they're listed on the map, that means they're in the queue and in review for their application, for their license. The second one, before I take any questions, this one more so is, again, an overview of the cannabis law and what PPLM entails. But this one is more so addressing that this applicant or potential licensee was listed on the map as approved for a license. They did not notify the municipality. So again, this is queuing up for potential volume in the future, but also ensuring that our city agencies are in compliance with the law and following through with it, and no one I guess falls to the wayside or has any loopholes. I'll stop there because I saw a question, Liz, and just speak a little slow because I have to repeat it into the mic.
Are there any changes to these that you're showing us now from what we received in the mail?
So
Yesterday?
I believe in the email, there was some red text that I updated. Yes, so I've updated that.
And in the first whereas. Can you roll up?
For the resolution number one?
Whereas of the second resolution.
Hold on, sorry. So the first question was if there were edits to this version that I'm screen sharing. Yes, so the version the members received in an email had some edits that I had to finalize, but I updated the red text. The second question.
First whereas and the second reso.
Of the second reso, the first whereas of the second reso.
Yeah. Oh, this looks like this has been changed as well.
Yes, so this one was updated because this one is reflecting the specific case here where they were actually approved for a license in May without presenting to the municipality or notifying the municipality.
Okay.
Thank you. Just in case, I will leave it up just in case if you guys want to read it, but there were just minor edits, so thank you for taking the time to read the email. Okay, I'll pass it on.
Can you switch to city events? Yeah. All right, I think,
I have them all open. That's how it's
let me just triple check. Oh, those are some really big shoes for me to try to, yeah, I don't fit in his shoes, so that's what it is. But we're gonna talk about City of Yes for housing opportunity. We've been talking about this for, I wanna say like 6 months now. Giving a heads up, board members, y'all got mad stuff. And so at executive committee, so actually I'm gonna say 2 things for background. All borough board, so for folks who aren't familiar, right, every chair of every community board convenes at what's called borough boards, right? So it's all the chairs, it's electeds that represent Manhattan within, let's say, kind of like Mark Levine's own mini community board, right, or cabinet. And so in July, we will be voting on a resolution. That vote was supposed to happen. It got delayed to July to be able to reflect all of the comments across all 12 Manhattan boards. So that vote's gonna happen in July. It's not a hard like, yes, no, I support, it's this. It is a compilation of all of our comments. Obviously, Washington Heights is very different from Midtown. So our comments are gonna vary on proposals, on the different proposals in City of Yes. So I'm saying that to say that the resolution, I think also just for folks who are on Zoom and in the room, I will say largely it's this. It is commenting that we do not, we are not opposed. There's 11. So there's the City of Yes for housing opportunity. It comprises of 11 different proposals. Many of those proposals within the 11 are not, I would say like relevant to our district because they're meant for what's called low density, right? So thinking about Queens, right? That might have those like 2-floor apartments or homes. They're really focused on them. So there are many that aren't necessarily relevant that we, as they're currently drafted, are not necessarily weighing in. There are 3 out of the 11 that I'm doing the same thing as you. I'm like trying to scroll through. Sorry, we could scroll down. There are 3 out of the 11 that are, you can keep scrolling. That's all background text on City of Yes. Hold on. Keep going. Yeah, sorry, I think it's like 4 pages. No, go up. Okay, here we go, the accept one. So there's 3 ones that's around eliminating limits on buildings that are primarily to build studio and 1-bedroom apartments, eliminating mandated parking requirements. And I can't read the last piece, sorry. It's been a day.
High density.
All right, and the new high density residential district. So those are the 3 that we are in that we are opposing as currently drafted. If there are ongoing comments, right, that folks have, or that I would say even members, constituents or residents of our neighborhood that have, we are able to continue to comment on the City of Yes for Housing Plan until September, right? So the board as a whole, we're going to vote on this. The goal is that we're gonna vote on this tonight, right? As it's currently drafted, we can take some friendly amendments. And if there are ongoing comments, we can still forward those in time for September. The commission is supposed to convene in September. Is that clear for everyone? That's that good consensus? All right, so I'm gonna take hands from board members if there are questions, or I should say if there are any amendments you wanna make, yeah.
I don't want to make any amendments. I don't have a question. I want to make a comment.
Okay.
And that is, as usual, Wayne and the Land Use Committee have done a really good job of summarizing what this proposes and approving of the things that make sense within those proposals for this community and opposing the things that don't make sense. And this resolution is not as simple as, yay, we think this is a great idea, or boo, we think this is a terrible idea. Or it says, we like certain things about it, we don't like other things about it, we want the city to change the things that we don't like, and, you know, we would like further study on some other aspects. So I really appreciate the thoughtfulness, and I hope that people vote that members vote in favor of this resolution, because this resolution doesn't just give a thumbs up to City of Yes.
Right, okay, so for those on Zoom, I should just pass it down. Liz was mentioning that kudos one to Land Use Committee and to Wayne. Really, this has been like 5+ months of engaging with DCP at, you know, all hours of the day, literally. And the reso is not a blanket. Yes, we support City of Yes, like we're not waving that flag. We're really outlining what the proposal is, what the nuances are, what areas there needs to be more investment in. And just kind of speaking to comments that were made earlier, you know, what's difficult about City of Yes for Housing is that it is land use, right? So it's just text, it's the zoning law and making text amendments. But what DOB needs, what HPD needs, all the alphabet soup of agencies to actually implement that, what that could look like, doesn't fall within this scope. So, you know, the proposal, the resolution before us also does acknowledge that, and that is something that our borough board we're also making really clear, and have been working on. And I think we did also receive presentations from the independent budget board folks who review the city budget in terms of what's also needed here. So, okay, I know Marielle, go ahead.
Thanks, Kathy. Yeah, I just want to reiterate what both
wait,
you.
Shut up on mic. Give me a second, Marielle, we can't hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. And then here. And then.
You can just tell her go.
Oh, go.
Can I speak
Sorry,
now?
go ahead, Marielle.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, does this work?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, good. Thank you. I just want to emphasize and reiterate both what Liz has just mentioned as well as Kathy. We've been engaging with mainly Wayne and the Land Use Committee, but Housing did a little bit on this for 5+ months. And there have been several public meetings on this. It's been on the agendas, it's been on the YouTube channel, it's been in the newsletters. We've sent out the resources so strongly, particularly for our members of the community that are joining us this evening. As Kathy mentioned, there is still an opportunity for kind of that outward facing input. So strongly encourage you to please, you know, look at it, provide your comments. And again, this is not a blanket yes to City of Yes. There are some things that we are in favor of, but there are a number of things that we have some concerns and questions about, and this resolution reflects that. So I encourage all of the board members tonight to vote in support of this. Thank you.
Alright, yeah, I wanna hear questions from board members, so, Danny, come on up, if you're gonna, have a question, please. I know, I'm sorry.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Darby Gornia. I'm a new board member. And I want to. I don't know if I know madam. But I really want to thank the Committee on Land Use for really summarizing. I learned a lot reading the document, tons of questions, tons of and I think what is important for us to understand, and which I get, is what we are saying in the document, what we are supporting, what we are not. But I also want to remind us of a previous public speaker when she said, this is all interconnected. And we need to look into it, the interconnectivity of things and issues that this community will be affected by whatever happened or doesn't happen in others. And that doesn't mean that we have to vote one way or another one, but to really read the proposal, to look into the details of it, to ask our question, and then see what else can we propose or what else we are missing, if we are missing anything. I do thank Wayne for putting together such a clear document that someone as ignorant as I am of all these issues really got a little bit of a light and can now at least try to speak to it. So thank you so much. And that was it. It was just a comment.
Thank you. Thank you, Danny. Alright, so Tanisha has a hand, we're gonna go to Tanisha, and then, actually, hold on, just because of the switch ups, Tanisha, if you're okay, let me go to Daniel first, and then to you. Actually, no, hold on, let's go to Tanisha, we're gonna go to Daniel, and then we're gonna go to traffic, because it's 8:30, we gotta keep going, let's go.
Hey, thank you, Chair. Oh, so I'll just have one comment, and forgive me if I'm missing it, but does this resolution say anything about the fact that that these developers are not, that this is not guaranteed building of affordable houses, that they are being given incentives, right, and tax breaks for a lot of years, but that is not a guarantee that they build affordable housing. So I don't, maybe if I'm missing it, I'm sorry, but I think that that's very important to list, that we want it to be a guarantee. If I was to say yes, it would have to be a guarantee that developers are going to build real affordable housing. I don't care about the tax breaks or none of that. I want them to, be obligated to build affordable housing, real affordable housing.
He was on the Zoom earlier. Yeah, he's sick. I'm gonna have Jim answer the question, because there's some, out of the 11 proposals, there's some that's relevant. There's, I think, like 1 or 2 that are relevant to what you're asking, and then there's others that are really different, like the parking piece. So I'm gonna let Jim handle it.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out, in some of the zoning, in fact, housing, that's affordable is required. And, it's just mandated now, so you can't build only rich people houses. And if you look closely, you may see that. And now, the other issue which I'll mention, but we can't do anything about, is what do you call affordable? Because, right, but we've been very clear as a board about what is affordable and what isn't. So, that's, so I just wanted, but the main point I wanted to make is that there is some required affordability in the city of Yes.
But when the requirement is based on the 40% income or the median income in the area, that is not affordability. Because if we take into account who lives in our neighborhood, those who are coming in, it doesn't necessarily, I know we don't have the power to change the rule, how affordability is defined, but the way it's being treated doesn't make it affordable for low income families.
Well, again, we've been very insistent that that criterion does not work for us, and we will keep on pushing that.
Hold on, no, it was Daniel, Indiana, but I'm mindful of time because we got more resos. So Daniel, Indiana, Liz, and let's talk, oh, sorry, and then Chris. And then, but let's focus on clarifying questions for the reso, because we need to know if we're voting on, how we're voting.
Hello. I know we're voting for law changes on where buildings are being built. I guess like my question is, are we supporting everything I still think we need like a lot of work on it, personally. There is a lot in there, it's just like not only just like us, it's like other places, and like those like little spaces that they wanna take, it's a lot. So I'm like, my question is, are we supporting all of the house of not house of, oh my god.
No,
Right?
we're not. We're not.
So like if I go, no, like.
Have you read the resolution?
Hold on, so,
I'm on that news. I'm on that.
okay,
news.
so right now, really similar, like, I'm trying to think about the other ones that seem to have multiple pieces. Right now, when you vote, if you vote yes, you are voting on to support it as is. Right, which means that we're supporting 8 and then we're not supporting 3 things. One of the 3 things that we're not supporting, for example, is eliminating the parking mandates, right? So right now, if you have a brand new construction, you have to include parking. That's one of the proposals, essentially, to eliminate that, and that doesn't, in the proposal as it's written, it doesn't mean that it's they can't build parking, it's just not required. For our district, because we know parking is spicy of a conversation and an issue. And even though congestion pricing is not on the table, it was on the table when we were talking about it. So we didn't feel comfortable with that. If you, for example, say, you know what, I don't want to eliminate the parking mandates, then it's up to you how you vote, right? So, because right now, that would be a substantial change, and that means you have to you vote on the whole document.
Yeah.
So it's either, you vote. You vote your heart, like I'm cool with these, or there's something in here that says no, that I actually really want, so you vote based on that.
I know how I'm gonna vote. I wanna know, to me, it's like, more of a sense of like,
Sorry.
to me, it's more of a sense of like, yes, there's a lot of changes that we gotta make. I think there still needs a little bit more time on like reviewing a lot of this process, because it's like almost like 2,000 pages of like laws, and like all these like little things, like they affect us, that's all.
No, I hear that, but we're mandated at the same. I want to keep going with stacks, right? So Indiana, if you're okay, can I do Chris? Because we have the mic live, and then we'll switch to Zoom people.
No problem.
Just a quick question, maybe for someone, I attended the land use committee meeting last time, but I just wanted to know, does anyone know offhand what the ratio of parking for building roughly is?
2 parking spaces is 1 studio.
2 parking spaces per 1 studio.
Yeah, that's what, if you, that's, no, what I'm saying is that's the space required.
Are you asking the ratio?
2 spaces will equal the space needed for a studio.
Oh, you mean a physical
Yeah,
space?
yeah.
I'm talking about so you say you build a building that's gonna house 300 residents, how many parking spaces would you need to provide? Does anyone know that information? I'm just curious. Yes. I thought you might know. The BMW hat, so
One of the aspects of the city of yes. What was asking again?
the question is, what is the current required
right.
ratio for the builders parking spaces to residents?
Well, that's true, but I think I know the answer. The answer is that in new buildings, parking will no longer be required at all. Okay?
That's not a question.
That's not the
But the question was.
Well, but it sort of answers the question.
No,
because it
no.
doesn't-
Well-
Let us keep kind of getting there and back in the weeds, so let's hold on the question around the ratio, because it is a valid one. I just don't know off the top of my head, and let me see if I can find it. Indiana has a question, let's switch to Indiana. And I think I see some chat movement.
Thank you very much. I also am very thankful to the Land Use Committee, and also I know that the Housing Committee, which I'm on, did a lot of work on this. I just wanted to check, I guess, is there anything as a friendly amendment that we can add that just hints at like an expectation of continued conversation with, city planning? I commend them. They did a lot of outreach. They came to at least 2 meetings that I attended for community board things. I watched all their info sessions and looked at everything online, but as Wayne mentioned, right, there were still a lot of like more detailed questions that as community members we had, and they did get information to us, but I really like tried to take the time and read through it, and I'm only like 2/3 of the way through that document. So I guess I'm asking if there's any way that we can add as a friendly amendment, something saying like, our expectation is that we're going to continue to have like close conversations about all of these proposals, not just the three.
Okay.
Hello?
All right, sorry about that. Yes, I will take that as a friendly. Actually, let me double check if it's. No, let me just double check if it's going on. Okay, I'll take that. Thank you, Indiana.
Thank you.
And the parking question, Audrey is present. She will get back to us. So if it's okay with folks, I would like to kind of keep moving through them, and then before the roll call, we'll double check on that. And that also gives time for folks to skim through if you have not skimmed through the rest of them.
I just wanted to point out briefly that with.
Can you come?
Sure.
Thank you.
I just wanted to point out that with respect to the issue of affordability, we do have a resolution calling on, separate to City of Yes, calling on relevant agencies when we're looking at housing to reconsider how we define affordability. So for people for whom that's an issue, and I think that's everybody, because that's a problem, I hope that folks vote in favor of that.
Okay, short answer is on the screen. It depends. I mean, I know that was a really long answer. Sorry. It actually is more in depth than that. But I will keep it up, scroll through. And then let's do something. Let's stop the screen share just because I know we have the traffic one. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna keep moving through. I know we got you have the actual resolution, you have the checklist. Board members got that email too with the step 1 through step 4. That includes the 34, the like specific questions from RCB and the Uptown CDs. So during the duration of this time before we go, please sit with that. But we're gonna keep it going.
Minutes from the land.
And the minutes, thank you. I think you wrote them, right? Yes, and big shout out to them. That was a lot. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna pass it off to Leo. Come on up, Leo and Bruce. They're a duo.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Leo Jimenez, and I am the chair of the Traffic and Transportation Committee. Is that better, Mary? A little bit. First, I want to give a shout out to the committee for welcoming. It was a busy month. We were there for quite a while, but we are a committee of action and advocacy, and we took it with stride. Shout out to Jody for writing the meeting minutes. Jody, I appreciate everything you do. And Bruce and Jim for drafting and taking the lead on our first resolution. So without further ado, I just want to present the resolution 58.
You've heard a lot about it already, so we're not gonna take a long time. We would like DOT to study 158th Street from Broadway down to the Henry Hudson Parkway for a lot of reasons, and we hope you support the resolution. Anything to add, Jim?
No, I think if you read the resolution, it's extremely thorough, and by the way, Mr. Simon, your suggestion is already in the resolution. Unless you have something else to add.
I have a correction.
Thank you, what is it?
In the fifth whereas, there's a reference to the Denny Farrell stairway. What was named for Denny Farrell was a bridge at 153rd Street. This particular stairway, which also has a ramp, was not named for Denny Farrell.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
I've seen his name there.
No,
It's out of that.
at
All right.
153rd Street,
My-
as well as Riverbank was named for it. But he did in fact obtain the money to build the ramp. But and there was a discussion as to whether that should be named for him, and instead a decision was made to name the bridge, which is a more substantial
Yeah, we'll take the friendly amendment,
We'll fix that.
Yeah, we'll fix it.
So it's maybe referred to as the stairway slash ramp.
Okay.
We will do that.
Thank you, Steve. All of you would know that.
Well, he does work for the parks department.
Yeah, we built the stairway.
Ah, can I put a plaque up there with his name on it?
Was it very tiring, Steve?
Mike Step.
Thank you all.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. We really
Yeah, thank you.
appreciate it.
Our second reso, it's a school safety proposal plan, from DOT. For the corridor of Audubon Albany and, West 168th Street between West 168th Street and West 178th Street. About 2 years ago in 2022, it's a little girl coming out of school. She was crossing due to double park trucks in that area. She couldn't see upcoming traffic and she was hit by a car. Since 2019, there are 53 total injuries that hit the corridor. About 53% of them are pedestrians and cyclists. So DOT came to our committee and proposed a plan with support of local schools. There are 5 schools in the city, 2 throughout the direct surroundings. So with support of Councilmember De La Rosa, the schools, the local schools nearby, and community residents, they advocated for DOT to take a look at this and implement certain changes to make this area safer. So you guys read the resolution, a couple of things they want to add in the plan, includes striped parking, extended curb lines, painted curb lines, street furniture to deter double parking and parking at the crosswalk, amongst other things. So we do ask to support our resolution. This is directly correlated to the schools and our kids in the community. And I think it's one step forward, DOT taking a look at what we request and actually implementing certain changes. So hope you support our resolutions. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Wait. Oh, yeah, take that. All right, next up, who's next? You know, no, not land. Oh, land use.
The other one.
Yeah, I'll lean a little bit on land use. There are 2 more items. One that we've already heard. I don't think we need to kind of go into detail, which is the Cancer Plus building. Here as part of New York Presbyterian. Okay, and then number 2, the second reso is around the faith-based Affordable Housing Act, which is essentially, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because the last I've learned is essentially creating, and this is also covered a little bit under City of Yes, actually, but this is a state proposal that would allow or I don't want to use the word incentivize, but would allow for or promote, excuse me, the building of affordable housing in faith-based spaces. So like many know, a lot of spaces of faith have, you know, really big properties, high debt, are, you know, maybe dwindling congregations, and are unable to kind of sustain not just operations, but the properties themselves. And so this is an act that would be able to support those sites and see that opportunity to build them, you know, both vertically, but also to, yeah, it's just another location where we can have more affordable housing. And I guess the way that I've always understood it, kind of like a win-win, right? Here are church spaces or spaces of faith that need that investment, that need that support, and also have the space to continue to build housing and also programming. Does Anthony, is that anything you want to add there, or
Yeah, if I could just
Yeah,
add to
yeah.
that one. So with respect to that resolution, there was some concern around the language in it, because originally the legislation seemed to suggest that landmarks laws could be circumvented. The sponsors of the bills never intended for that, so they went back, took our feedback, revised portions of the bill, and then came back to us by June, this past land use meeting, and showed us the updated legislation. It's clearly been revised, which is why we spoke about it on 2 separate committee meetings. But this past June, the land use committee did vote in favor of this resolution in support of the bill.
Stay up here because the Cancer Plus.
Well, I have, first of all, I've sent corrections on the Cancer Plus resolution to Wayne. So evidently he's not around, so I can forward those to the office. And there are a couple of places where the words or typos, the incorrect words used. But I wish to make, two friendly amendments to the resolution. In the very first whereas, in the first sentence, I would like to add the following.
Of the Cancer Plus.
On Cancer Plus.
Okay, my bad.
I'll get to the other one in a moment. But, on Cancer Plus, at the end of the first sentence of the first whereas, I would like to add the following language. It says here that, the zoning actions are to facilitate the development of a new cancer treatment center. And I want to add that the hospital says will serve patients regardless of whether they have insurance. This was a statement that I had to make at the committee meeting. I would like to have it, set in stone as part of that resolution.
Okay, see, before you continue, just so I can repeat it back for this.
right.
Oh, you're gonna write it. Okay, never mind, continue.
Okay, and then I would like to add at the end, and be it further resolved, Committee Board 12 Manhattan calls upon New York Presbyterian Hospital to direct its contractors and subcontractors on this project to make good faith efforts to use local vendors and to hire residents of Washington Heights inward to work on this project. This is likely to be maybe a $1 billion project. They're gonna spend a lot of money on this building. And I think this community board should advocate for spending as much of that money within the community as possible.
Okay, those are accepted.
You accept. Okay, those have been accepted.
Yeah. I think.
Okay.
Statement.
Let me know when I can talk about the other resolution.
Go.
The faith-based one?
Yes.
One moment.
I got it.
Here come up. Those
Yeah, you have to talk and then speak it.
So people can hear you.
We don't want to hear his accent on Zoom.
In a way, I was like, trying to read. People are writing in the chat.
The resolve clause of the faith-based Affordable Housing Act resolution says that we support the passage of the faith-based Affordable Housing Act as revised, subject to comments from its Housing and Human Services Committee. I presume the Committee Board 12 on the affordability tiers included in the act. At this point, we can't vote on a resolution subject to some comments that we have yet to receive, if that's the case. So either we strike that from the resolution or we send it back to the Housing and Human Services Committee to include its comments.
Could I ask if this bill was discussed at the Housing and Human Services
Marielle has her
Committee?
hands up anyway.
Oh, Marielle, if you can speak.
If I can kindly speak.
Oh, a moment, sorry.
Okay, okay, go ahead, Marielle.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Oh, okay.
On Zoom, it seems like, but not in the room. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yes, so this was discussed at Housing and Human Services, and we landed on the agreement that the intent of it was more so focused on zoning, which is why it was led by the Land Use Committee. We did not have a chance to provide that feedback, but our committee does support the Faith-Based Affordable Housing Act. We are later on this evening presenting a resolution on the standards for the housing. The title is Recommended Standards for Future Housing Developments. And in it, we are recommending in that separate resolution, talking about the prioritization of affordable housing from 0% AMI to 80%. So targeting extremely low income families. So from 0 to 46,000 for a family of 4, very low income, 31% to 50%, and that's $46,000 or so to $77,000 for a family of 4, to low income, which is 51 to 80% AMI. I know there were other discussions around the AMI thing, and I'll kind of come to that in my report, but just wanted to flag that as well. Thanks. So I guess the point is we do support it as the Housing and Human Services Committee. Either that bit is removed or for land use to consider using those figures that I've just shared, which for the standards for future housing developments in the faith-based housing act that you're putting forward, the reso. Thanks.
conditioning would be to just, I'm just gonna drop it. Yeah. Thanks, Marielle. So when I drafted this resolution, the reason I included this language was because when the committee was speaking, there were some concerns about whether or not the Housing and Human Services had an opportunity to discuss it, but I deliberately didn't say that they needed a vote on it. It sounds like that there were no major concerns from the Housing and Human Services Committee, in which case we'll just drop everything after the comma. The comma after as revised.
And make that a period.
Make that a what?
A period.
And yes, make it a period.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, land use. All right, I'm gonna go to, or we're gonna switch up again. We're gonna go to Marielle, because I know bedtime's coming, so let me swap.
Can we have Jay present first on the basement? And then I'll present, please. Sorry.
Go back. All right, we swapped that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought you wanted to. No. All right. So this resolution, in support of the state pilot program to legalize basement and cellar dwelling units is based off of the state passing in its budget legislation for a pilot program for the city, which designated very specific community boards, and our community board was one of them in the legislation. So we're being asked to whether we support or oppose it being included in the pilot program. The resolution is basically in support because there's no harm in allowing people who own homes and have a basement that they're already probably renting to have an opportunity to fix it up and legalize it and rent a property so people can live there safely. And I will say that Liz had some friendly amendments on some grammar, and there was another issue, I think, on the beginning. I don't know, is Liz here?
No.
Oh. Well, I'm disagreeing with one of her amendments saying that we don't have a short supply of housing. I disagree there, which is in the beginning of the resolution, because the reason we have a rent guidelines board, the only way that is activated is if you have below 5% vacancy rate in your city. So I'm not gonna take that portion of her amendment unless anybody here disagrees with what I'm saying. And then I'm gonna pass it off to Mariel to do the other one.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, yeah. Will you be able to clarify the difference between, say, basement dwelling? I'm assuming that we're talking about actual houses, or are we also including buildings? Because then that would be an area of concern for me in terms of renting out basements that are not livable or can lend itself to, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, this is,
clarify that.
I'm sorry. Is it on?
It's on.
Yeah. Turn it
I think that was loud enough for people online.
I'll turn it down.
Sorry, I didn't mean to yell at them.
Yeah, so this is, it's for homes. It's not for buildings. Buildings right now, building owners can rent out their basement, but they have to abide by regulations that already exist for that. Any more questions?
Okay.
All right.
Marielle.
Okay. Let me know when you can hear me. Yeah, okay, good. Thank you, Jay. Really appreciate you leading on that into the committee as well for all of their work. I guess just one final point on that as well, because I heard a comment around concerns with the basements and the cellar dwelling units. The reso does include language around, ensuring right to egress and, health and safety standards and so on and so forth. So that is covered there. The other resolution that we have before you this evening is one that I think we flagged before in previous meetings for all of you, and it's around recommended standards for future housing developments. I mean, we've heard it all this evening, and I think we all know we're no strangers to the changes that are happening in our neighborhood and that have been happening and will continue to happen. And so we've put together this resolution here that is calling on or kind of recommended standards for what are the things that should be happening when developments come to our community. And just kind of going through really quickly some of the key points in the resolves. So one, really calling on HPD, private developers and community organizations to actively and meaningfully engage with stakeholders in the community, including but not limited to meetings with Community Board 12, elected officials, surrounding communities, really kind of putting an emphasis on the entirety of the development process. So not once the building is built, but really from the concept to pre-development, construction, and really kind of providing updates on a regular basis. The other thing that we've kind of highlighted here is, again, the prioritization of 100% affordable housing developments, focused again on extremely low income, very low income, and low income. And so there's an AMI chart towards the bottom of the resolution. If you could kindly scroll towards that, people can see that. The other thing that we've also called out in the reso towards the end is the prioritization of 3 and 4 bedroom units. One of the big things that we're seeing, and one of the things that these new developments have, they're mostly aimed at studios, either young professionals or couples or singles. Great, but in Community Board 12, we have a lot of multi-generational households. We do not have a sufficient housing for 3 and 4 bedroom units to support our families and avoid apartment crowding. We're also calling for the prioritization for housing for seniors, people with disabilities. A big part around also taking into account community aesthetics and local culture, a commitment to 50% of WMBEs, as well as a real big push to conduct the racial equity impact study in accordance to local law 78. So this is kind of what we've done. We recognize here that obviously there's a wider issue around AMI and, the whole question of who things are affordable for, which is kind of separate work that the committee will be looking forward to doing in the fall. But we do think it's incredibly important to have something that signals to developers, city agencies, what we here as the community want to see moving forward. Happy to take questions. Thank you. Oh, the other thing I would note, there were a couple friendly amendments as well from Liz on just like some grammar and punctuation, which we accept. I'll just need to make those edits. Thank you.
Ben? Is there something on the red? I read it, try to read it again, that mentions, hey Maria, something that mentions inflation.
Sorry, mentions what?
Inflation.
Translation?
No.
Inflation.
Inflation. We have here a little bit. So we do talk about, in the beginning, in the whereases, we do talk about, being severely rent burdened. We do talk about, the housing shortage, the tackle of the housing crisis. I don't think we've captured anything here on the impact of inflation.
Yeah.
We do have something on kind of updated research. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, if you are willing to take a friendly amendment, I can send you something.
Okay.
Surrounding inflation. I think it's important to add it in the resume. So I'll be sending you.
Sounds good. Thank you. The other thing I forgot to mention is that the reso also supports the land uses resolution that was passed in Community Board 12 in September that was put forward, and it's the principles for framework for the development of new residential buildings in Washington Heights and Inwood. So that's also referenced in there.
We're stopping. All right. Let me know. Yeah. All right.
Marielle, the chart that's here.
Oh, sorry.
Towards the bottom of the second page indicates that low income, a family of 4 is deemed to be low income if they have, an income as high as $124,000, is this accurate? That's considered low income?
I believe you're reading it wrong. Extremely low income for a family of,
Oh,
and
wait.
here's the other thing. Sorry, I misspoke. Oh, can you hear me?
Did you capture that as a family of 4?
I know,
Yeah.
but that's low income.
And so that's my point that I made earlier around AMI. The resolution also includes the language in the whereas. I believe it's where is it? There's one here where it talks about the need for more research, to talk about, okay, here we go. Whereas Community Board 12 calls for updated research and study that is reflective of households across Washington Heights and Inwood and is inclusive of all incomes, particularly fixed and low-income New Yorkers. As we know, the AMI is set by HUD. That is a federal thing. And so at this moment, that's what we have to go. Doesn't necessarily mean we agree with it, which is why we've put that language in there that there needs to be more work on kind of being more inclusive and reflective of all incomes.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna include.
Hold on.
I think if we're going to include this chart, there should be a comment. There should be a comment right after it, or before it, indicating that we find this chart, not to be, not to be appropriate for our community or something along those lines. It's not clear to me why we even have the chart at this point.
So sure, thanks, Steve. I think that's a friendly amendment. Because again, we do agree with that, and some of that language is already incorporated. Maybe it's just a matter of switching where it's listed. The reason why the chart is in there is because that's ultimately what developers will have to go against. That's what we have at the moment. And so we do need to be quite specific about what it is that we're asking for. Thanks.
Switching back. Okay. Okay, switching back. Steve, come on up. All right, so Mary, I think that captures all the questions that we have for you on this one.
Kathy, can I make one other?
I think you've heard enough from me tonight.
Okay, yes, I see OC ready with her laptop. Let's go.
Kathy, can I just make one
Let's hear
quick?
from OC. Sorry, Marion, I can't hear you right now. Oh, you have, wait.
I just
Hold
wanted
on.
to.
I gotta swap. It's gonna take. No, that was that one.
Okay. Tell Mary how to start.
Let me know.
You can start over now.
Okay, sorry. I just wanted to make one or two other points, just recognize that there were a lot of comments this evening around developers. We at the Housing and Human Services Committee have been working very closely with our elected officials, inviting developers to come and speak at our meetings. And actually at our last meeting, we did have a developer for the location on Broadway and Sherman come speak to us about the development. And so I do encourage everyone to come to these meetings because it is something that we are doing. And there are efforts as well on the RGB. Obviously, we're not happy with what happened, but it is on our radar and we're working towards that. And we really hope that you all come out to meetings in the future. Thank you.
Okay. So, I hope everyone read the resolution that came, the revised resolution that came out from the office this morning. We had some revision for that, and I actually have a correction of data correction on the second whereas. Where is Steve? Okay, on the second whereas, we are actually the third largest in terms of population, the third largest district in Manhattan. So this resolution came about because there are zero, let me repeat that, zero affordable veterinary services for low income or anyone that could not afford it. Right now, if you go to a private vet, and we have only 3 in our district, you would pay anywhere between $500 to $1,000 to get your cat or dog fixed, depending on the situation. So, the ASPCA shut down community medicine on 92nd Street in 2019. And, technically, we're supposed to get a new clinic in Manhattan, but that never happened. The Bronx got one, Brooklyn has one, Queens gonna open one at, probably in October of this year, and Staten Island in planning, and there are no plans for us. Zero, again, zero. So, and that came about because, in case you don't know, I'm doing cat rescue in Inwood for 10 years. I'm getting phone calls from residents that don't know where to go and what to do. For the most part, I cannot help them. I'm an individual rescuer, I can't help them. So I send them to other organizations. The ASPCA will not service your pet if you're not living in the borough where the clinic is. That means if I send people to the Bronx or Brooklyn or Queens, and you have an address in Manhattan, good luck. You're not getting services. Getting to the hospital is a whole other thing. So we need the ASPCA to open a brick and mortar clinic in our district. They had one, they shut it down. And so I don't know, right now it's not in the main planning. And so we need to have that. In addition, we need to have the mobile van come back here. Probably some of you remember the mobile van. The mobile van is not back in operation in Manhattan. They are in operation in few zip codes in each of the other boroughs, not in Manhattan. So if you're calling or you're trying to make an appointment, you will not get service for your pet. It's a crisis here. It's just terrible, and we need to change it. So we need the ASPCA back here, the mobile van, we need the clinic. We also need ACC to have services like surrender prevention. It's a big deal. People are leaving pets in their apartments when they move to a no pet policy building because they don't know what to do. Some of them don't know there is such thing as ACC. That is a problem. People dumping cats and dogs in all sorts of places. So we need to stop that, and we need education. ACC is really good at surrender, have nice surrender prevention programs, including dog classes. They have food bank. We need that. We need those food banks. But the residents of Inwood, Washington Heights don't know that all of that exists because they're not here. We need them here. In addition, we need government officials to sponsor some of the stay neuter programs like the Toby van. And so it's affordable for government official to sponsor those. I would like to see at least 3 a year. Let's start with something, but we need those services here. We need them. So that's why we have the resolution, and I hope you will support it. Yes. I have a friendly, not amendment, a friendly addition, OC, if you will accept it. In the spirit of tonight's discussion, regarding mental health, would you be open to citing, and I can forward this to you, research that states that having pets increases mental health and quality of life for individuals, and having affordability to own a pet will increase the quality of life and the mental health of our community.
I'll take it as a friendly amendment, Steve.
Why not?
Oh, thanks, Steve. Thanks.
Friendly amendment, I think it's, community board CB, not CB. I just read that.
Community district.
Community district.
District, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And
I'll
so
go through that.
just as a comparison, and I know this is something that it's not in that provision, just as a comparison, we are the third largest, as I mentioned, district in Manhattan. And we only have 3 clinics, for-profit clinics. Upper West Side and Upper East Side are the first and the second, respectively.
And they have anywhere between 16 and 19 clinics, not including the ASPCA hospital. So they have more options available for them. And one of the problems that we face here, that not only people don't have an affordable place to go to for services for their pet, and if they find it anywhere else, they have to travel far away. I know that because I know where are those services available, and they are not here, and they are not mostly in a 5 boroughs. So, yes. Anyone else? No, online? Is there someone online? No?
No.
In terms of the income that we have. Yeah. I think you raise it higher because I help myself. My elderly dog will cost me $1,600 every time I go to the vet. Sometimes I have to call people. That's the money, but. So, could it be more of a low medical component? So in terms of income, the question was in terms of income and affordability. There is, again, not mentioned in the resolution because I didn't want to be too specific. There is an organization called Positive Tales, and they will help pet owners. But it's a process. And we need them here. They do also do, they do like wellness vaccination clinics that the ASPCA does, ACC does as well. But again, it has to be by request of our council members. So we have to advise them that we need that in our district and they should sponsor that. Yeah. Any other question? 92nd Street, 92nd and between the York and First Avenue, that's the ACCA. The community medicine is no longer there. Yeah, they do have the adoption center though. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. This has been a long time. Yes. All right, and last and certainly never least is liquor licensing. So Isidro's not here.
Yes, so Isidro's not here. I will just give a general overview of our 11. Okay, I just want to make sure it wasn't blocked on the bottom. Our 11 applicants here, I think, only points to highlight, number 6 was withdrawn, due to some questions that came up during our meeting, so they will, be back for September. We look forward to that with the item agenda. And then, item number 8, was an objection. Due to method of operations change request is a new request, and we require all applicants that are new be present, whether in person or on Zoom, and there was no one present. So it's our standard voting procedure there. That's really all I have to share, so I'll defer to the minutes for the rest.
Steve.
Oh, man. Oh, I didn't see your hand. Yes, Steve.
2 questions. Don't go anywhere, Anthony. In number 5, with respect to Mama Juana, it says, Anthony asked what they do to rectify the equipment not being cleaned. The table was displayed and it was rectified. Can you explain what that means?
So actually, it's a reference, Mama Juana had a table in the basement or towards the back of the building. Yeah. They built a wall. That's how they made it.
Yeah.
So we can actually the building and then make the change to the.
There was a table in between the 2 establishments.
Basement is shared between the restaurant and the building.
Yeah.
The
Because they
residential.
kept getting, I think, health violations.
Yeah, the health.
Yeah, the way they rectified, they built a wall.
So the equipment was okay. The
Yeah.
equipment was not deemed to be not clean or whatever. Okay, my other question is,
You repeat it back.
Hold on, Steve. You
No,
talked
just
too fast.
Steve, come on up. Steve, come on up.
Maybe you don't come up. It's too much to repeat into the.
Yeah, let's
mic.
do this. Come on.
And like, I don't want to lose the gist of what you're saying.
Okay, thank you. Okay, number 11 says that
a copy of the purchase of a sound limiter was to be provided. Do we know if that happened for,
This is for the new, a new liquor license.
Ron NYC?
Yeah, I don't know if we received that or not. I have trouble hearing this. I don't know, did we receive that?
The question is, the purchase of a sound limiter, I believe we did. I'm going to double check with our staff tomorrow.
Right, so this, we're gonna vote on this on the presumption that it was provided,
Yes.
and if it
And if
wasn't
it wasn't,
provided.
we'll revert it
you'll-
before we
you'll-
update
you'll
or
reverse it.
submit,
Yes.
yes,
Very good.
reverse. Thank you. All good questions, thank you. Or points. I think that wraps it up. I'll pass it for roll call. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so what we're gonna do because of these mic issues is we're gonna do roll call in person first. So I'm gonna go through the list of names in alphabetical for in person, and then we'll switch to Zoom. So hold on Zoom, folks. All right. Joel, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Joel votes yes to all. Alvin, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Alvin votes yes to all. Jamirna, how do you vote? No, she is. You want me to come back to you?
Yeah, 'cause I'm just-
Okay.
I apologize. Are we voting just on the
Mary, how
land?
do you vote?
Yes, to all.
Sorry,
Mary
are we
votes
voting
yes
on
to
all of the
all.
resolutions?
Jay, how do you vote? You want me to come back to you? Okay. Radia, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Radia votes yes to all. One left. Jim, how do you vote?
I vote no on 8 and 9. 10 and 11 and yes, everything,
8, 9, 10, and 11, you said,
and H.
and H. Jim votes no to 8, 9, 10, and 11, and H. Just mark that. Okay, Daniel Benia, how do you vote?
No to A and yes to the rest.
Daniel votes no to A and yes to the rest. James Bosley,
Not voting on number 5, what's it?
okay, James is not voting on 5 due to a conflict and yes to the rest. Darley, how do you vote? Darley votes yes to all. Chair, how do you vote?
Not voting on B and C because I work at OCM and yes to the rest.
Okay, the chair is not voting on B and C due to a conflict and votes yes to the rest. Okay, Luana, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Luana votes yes to all. Bear with me, folks. Little very big spreadsheet. Okay, Heidi, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Heidi votes yes to all. Simari, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Simari votes yes to all. Jody, how do you vote? Jody votes yes to all. Leo, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Leo votes yes to all. OC, how do you vote?
Abstain on letter A. Yes to the rest.
OC abstains on letter A and votes yes to the rest. Michelle, how do you vote?
I vote yes to all.
Michelle votes yes to all. Alexis, how do you vote? Alexis votes yes to all. Carmen, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Carmen votes yes to all. Bruce, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Bruce votes yes to all. Steve, how do you vote?
Yes to all, especially J.
Okay, Steve votes yes to all. Carl, how do you vote? Carl votes yes to all. I abstain on number 1 and vote yes to the rest. Chris, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Yes to all. Did I miss anyone in the room? Oh, I'm sorry, there were a couple people I didn't. Alright, so let's go back to the top. Jamira, how do you vote?
I'm abstaining on A. B, E. That's the-
A, C, G, and H. Okay, Jamirna is abstaining on A, C, G, and H. And votes yes to the rest. Okay, Jay, how do you vote?
I abstain on F and G, and yes to the rest.
Okay, J abstains on F and G and votes yes to the rest. I'm sorry, and who did I miss? Are you a board member?
No.
Oh, then you're not able to vote, I'm sorry. Anyone else? Oh, and Jim, you had a correction, you said?
Right. I misread. I'm voting no on 9, 10, and 11, and not 8, 9, and 10.
9, 10, so you're voting yes on 8?
Yes, I'm voting yes on 8,
Okay.
and no on 9, 10, and 11. I apologize for not being.
No worries, Jim is correcting his vote, he's voting yes on 8 and no on 9, 10, 11, and yes to the rest. Okay, so what we're gonna do for Zoom is I'm gonna give it to Tracy. Tracy, you're gonna say your vote in a moment, not yet. And then you're gonna popcorn into another board member on Zoom, and we're just gonna try and do our best to get around.
We can probably
We
do
can
it.
switch
Yeah,
back and forth.
people won't be able to hear super well in the room, but we can manage this for 30 seconds to, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna try.
All right, let's
something.
try.
Maybe we won't.
We got faith in Chris.
If you don't popcorn, I'm going to just go on alphabetical order. Just give me 1 second. Can they hear me?
Go ahead, yeah, try it.
Okay, I'm gonna start with you then, Marielle. How do you vote? Marielle,
Oh, sorry, I thought you were saying Tracy first. Yes to all.
and Marielle votes yes to all. Eleazar, are you still here? Noemi, how do you vote? Are you still here? No, you left as well. Okay. Sonia, how do you vote?
I'm abstaining since I'm new to the group.
Are you abstaining on all of them?
I am.
Okay. Sonia abstains to all. Barbara, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Okay, Barbara votes yes to all. Tanisha, how do you vote?
Oh, I'll vote no to A and then yes to the rest of them.
Tanisha votes no on A and yes to the rest. Okay, Tracy, how do you vote?
No to G and yes to the rest.
Okay, Tracy votes no on G and yes to the rest. And then Indiana, how do you vote? Indiana,
Sorry, it took me a second to unmute. I vote yes to all, yes to all and abstain on A.
okay, abstain on A and yes to the rest. Did I miss anyone on Zoom? Okay, that's all. Thank you.
You got heck.
Herc B. You missed somebody on Zoom. They put their answer in the chat. Herc B.
Oh, is that he put heck B? I didn't realize that's not.
Oh, that might be.
He's been here the whole time, cause I thought, yeah, he has.
Oh.
I just didn't know that was him, cause it's heck B.
Okay, wait,
I thought it was another Hector that I knew.
Hector, if you can unmute and vote.
I vote yes to all.
Yes to all. Okay, thank you.
No, thank you.
All right, great, thank you. Thank you.
All right, cool. I don't have my agenda in front of me. So, thank you, folks. That was a lot. And, you know, of course, we had a full public session. I wanna make an ask. There's a refer to the minutes.
Nightlife, just look up that department, that office.
Okay, so for, you okay referring the minutes? It's June. Thank you. Yes, come on up, actually. Come Carmen, it's your time. It's just that we having folks do their steps in. So we're gonna generally refer to the minutes, but there is one important announcement from the task force.
Hi, everyone. The Cannabis Task Force will be meeting the first Monday of July. July 1st or July 8th. Please be on the lookout. You should receive an email. We will be reviewing an application, so we encourage all of you to attend. And please review the recording, and we don't have meeting minutes, right? Please review the recording for the last meeting in anticipation for the July meeting. Thank you.
Okay, I don't have my agenda in front of me, so can I get an agenda? All right, so, we're largely referring to the minutes. I will echo, excuse me?
And the recordings.
And the recordings of the meetings, the minutes are on our folders. I do want to, this is technically old business, so leaving there. Board members, your surveys are in your inboxes. I will resend those this week. Again, this is your feedback survey. So what was your experience like on your committee this year, right? Whether in your role as a chair, assistant chair, or as a general member. We need that feedback from you all. If you are looking to change committee assignments, right? I know for my new members, I owe you lots of updates. But you're looking for new assignments, please email those to me. I am saving those. We'll be working on that over the summer. When I get your surveys, you will get your sneak peek about your merch that is coming. That is fire, I'm just saying it's fire. We got a lot of swag coming for the community too, for our outreach sessions. And then on Friday, yes. Okay, the member survey that I emailed to everyone, it's June 10th. Okay, I emailed it June 10th. I was planning on resending it anyway this week. Okay, I'll resend it. Yes, it's very newsletter looking. I will resend it this week with kind of like our final pieces, right? Member survey, assignments, our social media asks, right? Now that we're slowing down for the summer, and of course, the sessions with the Cannabis Task Force. So again, even though we're on break, if you down to walk 2-3 blocks and support some of that surveying, so we're gonna just send those ongoing activities. For people still hanging out, if you do get requests, please send it to the board staff. To Ebenezer, to Paola, and Noemi. All right, so that's all the old business I got. Is there any new old business?
I have one thing from public safety.
Mike.
I just want to make this quick, but from the Public Safety Committee, this month, the precincts did not come to the meeting, and I just want to put that on the record. Because there's been an increase in crime in our neighborhood, and I think everybody here can agree to that. And when we needed the precinct the most, it did not show up, and it's very disappointing. And I just want to put that on the record. Yes, everybody's overworked, everybody's understaffed, everybody's underpaid. But when there's an increase in crime like this, we really need to come together. And we had a lot of community members come on last meeting because there's been crime pertaining to bikes, motorbikes, e-bikes in our neighborhood. So for when we return back in session, we're hoping to put forward a resolution to support individuals in our community that have been affected by bikes and other crimes.
Sorry,
We'll meet with the PD in the summer.
I have a joint meeting with someone.
Okay, that's later. Mary, I'll repeat for Mary.
I attend the 33rd precinct council meetings every month, and I will speak to them.
Okay, Mary's at the 33rd precinct council every single month, so she will, it's this Thursday, look at that. So we'll echo it, but also, say, and just for like folks' awareness in the summer, because we slow down, definitely we'll be meeting with more of the agencies over the summer is a goal to make sure that they can come consistently. Tracy, you got new business?
Word. For those who are
Come here? Yeah. No, tell me.
I could go, I could rock. I didn't know if people were talking. Word, okay. For those that are around on August 17th,
162nd Street between St. Nicholas and Edgecombe is having a block party that it has not had since the 80s. You should be getting a flyer about it, but come out and be people, hear community music, see what's going on. Thank you. Put it in your calendars. Bye.
Yeah, and I'll penny back on that.
Yeah, so keep the flyers coming. We will keep sending them out. It is summertime, so more events, that we say they can. Oh, all right, there's a lot of events. Send the flyers, we will send them out. It is 9:32, so we covered old business, we covered some new business, we covered some announcements. I heard a motion to adjourn and I hold a second. I will see you, hopefully, most of you on Friday, this Friday, 5 p.m. at Locksmith. Lots of great foods. You really don't, but you know. Just like, we got a lot of food, so we want to make sure a lot of people can eat it, but thank you, folks. We are at Locksmith. The invite just went out, so it's in your inbox as of 9 p.m. Locksmith is on 193rd and Broadway. All right, talk to you folks.